But as always, we'll start with the dollar, which at the moment is looking pretty bearish, at least this morning anyway. And since yesterday afternoon, we're looking pretty bearish. I was looking for a bit of a pullback for the dollar because I do think more downside is likely. I was talking about 100.4. However, we haven't really seen that yet. And I'm not too sure we will. I said pullback into that area will look good. Of course, you've got price support there, which now would be flipped as resistance. We've got one high over there, second, and potentially a third. And then, of course, from there, we might see price continue in that bearish journey. At the start of the week, I was looking for price to hold support here and potentially push a lot higher up. But yeah, we can see that momentum has just been looking pretty bearish and prices hasn't had enough energy to have that pullback. So at this point in time, I think the likelihood is that the DXY does make its way back to lows here at 98.1 and probably further as well. It does look like we've tested some more minor areas of support around here. As you can see, we just about tagged into that. If I move this out the way, we just about wicked into that. And of course, from there is where we found resistance yesterday, and we haven't looked back since. So we're looking pretty bearish right now. We're still coming into bullish territory, which is this low here. This is the low which gave us this swing to the upside. So predominantly speaking, still don't really want to be shorting into that. From an intraday perspective, I understand shorts here, trying to take advantage of price, retesting a prior low. If you're entering positions intraday, 15-minute, hourly time frame even, probably find some nice intraday swings there to trade. But any higher than that, you're running into a bit of trouble because price very much could bounce again at this level of support. After all, it is still holding price very well. It gave us the reaction a couple days back. This is still where buys are sitting. I still think price is likely to break through, but at the same time, I don't want to be selling into that level. Even if I expect resistance or support to break, I'm not going to be buying into it just because I expect it to break, because we might bounce first and then break it, and that could knock me out my position. And it just doesn't make too much sense selling into demand, support, or buying into supply or resistance. But nonetheless, if we do see a break of that, again, I still think that will open up the door to more shorts on the lower time frames. So some pullbacks, break and retest. I still think that will be a nice opportunity to look for, again, intraday time frames, not looking for anything too crazy. And we could be nestling back at these lows sometime next week. So pretty bearish right now for the dollar, which of course makes me pretty bullish for euro. And that's exactly what we're seeing. I spoke about the retest of this level, which euro did manage to get the retest of. Prior resistance there at 1.126. We came back, used it as support. Lovely reaction. Again, some nice entries there, more so on the hourly chart. It did kind of occur out of session here. This was like, 6, 7, 8 p.m. UK time. So that's kind of not the best time to be entering longs on euro. You kind of want to be more so either London session or mainly New York session. It still technically is the US session, but just more towards the end when momentum does die out. You can see candles looking very, very small there as the candle did close for the day, but nonetheless, support did hold, and price has been looking pretty bullish since then. And yeah, I don't really see much stopping price getting all the way back to 1.156 really. So at the moment, very, very bullish on euro. Again, I'll watch out if you're looking to buy it because we are still trading back into areas of supply. You can clearly see here price had a lot of trouble yesterday or Wednesday. We had a push down from that. We could do that again, even though I do expect price to break through. There is that worry there. So now's not the best time to be looking to buy. If you're not in the trade from here, then you're looking for price to now go break that area of structure and repeat the pattern. We've been pretty consistent with these high lows now. One over there, second, third potentially. The fourth is essentially what you'll be looking at next. And targets, I don't see much stopping price getting back to the highs there. So it could be looking at a really nice swing trade there on the cards. But in terms of finding entries for euro now, I would say wait for price to get back above 1.135, or if we do come back for a retest, of course, because that could happen too. So I would keep a lookout for that. But yeah, in terms of direction, very, very bullish on euro. If I'm expecting the dollar to fall, back to lows, well then 9 times out of 10, if not 10 times out of 10, I'm expecting euro to make the opposite move. And in this case, I definitely am there. And again, the plan is with euro is I'm expecting the continuation of this bullish leg, of that bullish momentum we've seen throughout the year. Still treating this as a pullback of that last bullish leg. So now I'm just expecting continuation back to highs and probably so on and so forth. So very, very bullish there for euro. Pound USD looks like it's breaking out of resistance here. Very, very impressive stuff. Again, I'll still wait for that daily candle to close to really kind of cement the breakout, because the day is still young. Price could still potentially pull back and leave a big wick there, kind of like we did a couple of days ago. We're looking pretty bullish there. We did pull back, so that could still happen. So I would be a little bit cautious of that, but nonetheless, I'm still pretty bearish on the dollar. I think the dollar can still fall. That should help pound push up. I think pound's a bit strong at the moment as well. So pound USD is looking like a very bullish market. And if that's the case, well, that should provide some nice opportunities on a break and retest to follow that momentum and find continuations, because at least now we've got that resistance to our backs. It potentially could act as support and send us higher. So pound USD, a very bullish market. I would still be looking to buy this one, but now that we've cleared resistance, we can now be looking for a break and retest. And see some upside from there. At the moment, again, like I said, I wait for that daily candle to close, so I wouldn't look for pullbacks until at least next week, because if you do start to pull back now, that does leave a big wick on the daily chart, and if we close like there by the weekend, then it's not looking too great anymore. So I would still wait for next week to really confirm things, confirm momentum, then look for the breakout and continuations afterwards. And in terms of dollar CAD, pretty much the same situation here as well. Looking pretty bearish. Dollar's quite weak at the moment. I did suggest a breaking retest of this area, but the market was just not looking, it wasn't as bullish as we needed it to be to come and actually retest that level. So it looks like dollar CAD's probably just going to roll over back to lows here at 1.376 without much of a pullback there. I would suggest there might be some opportunities on like an hourly chart. If we can come back and retest this area, probably even drop lower than the hourly, to be honest, more so like 30 or 15 minute. I think that could be a nice opportunity for a trade. We've got a high over there. We just about cleared lows here. So it looks like that's our new lower high in this bearish leg. So the plan would be looking for the next lower high. And a retest of this structure gave us a lovely up move. We've since broken through. This now could act as supply resistance and send us back down again. So I think that's a great place to be looking to short the market as well. But overall for dollar CAD, very, very bearish on this one. Expecting a push back to lows at 1.376. Possibly a retest of that low is still on the cards. We still potentially could look to see that happen. But yeah, looking less and less likely now. But keep an eye on that. This is probably something more likely to happen, and I think that would be a great place from an intraday perspective to catch a swing. But yeah, in terms of direction, very, very bearish on dollar CAD. Aussie dollar, just leaving price alone, to be honest. I have no idea what we're doing here. I'm still pretty bearish on USD, so you would think that should send Aussie dollar higher, but price action looks very, very rubbish right now. Very, very sideways. I wouldn't be looking to touch Aussie dollar for 10-foot pole right now, to be honest. So I'll leave price alone. There's a slight ascending channel here, so we're slightly seeing higher lows and pushing up, but not a trend worth a while. Again, I'm still looking at the bigger swing, but to be honest, as price continues this, the less confident I am that we do get this swing to the downside, to be honest, because I would expect it to happen by now. If Aussie dollar was going to push down, give me that higher low to push up, because I have been looking for that big inverse and head and shoulder. So inverse, there's your left shoulder. Don't know why I call that inverse. Left shoulder, head, and right shoulder. So I was looking for price to drop down. I've spoken about this area here at 0.625 as a healthy area of support, which we price could pull back into, retest, and potentially continue to the upside from there. But as I say, as long as price kind of stays within that channel, and the longer we stay in that channel, the less likely I see price having that drop and possibly just kind of maybe consolidating and then breaking to the upside with some momentum. I think that becomes more and more likely. And not really something I'm looking to trade, to be honest. So I'll still keep an eye on 0.625 because, again, price potentially could still get there. And if it does, I want to make sure I'm there to take the trade. If not, if you just stay sideways in here, again, leaving price alone, even from a lower time frame perspective, I would stay far away. XAGUSD, I like the buys for this one, but not quite at the lows just yet. We broke out that ascending channel there on the lower time frame, so I was hoping that we could continue to sell off back into these lows and then find the buy. But yeah, at the moment looking pretty bullish, and we're not quite trading at those lows just yet. Maybe we still do get there, so again, definitely not ruling that out, but my expectation for XAGUSD is more upside. Again, a bearish dollar should help that out as well. Still looking at strength in the NZD and Aussie as well. I have talked about the retest of this level here, but again, there's just a waiting game. A lot of trading is just to wait for price to come to you, and if it does, great, you find your opportunity. If it doesn't, you move on to the next position. In this case with XAGUSD, I'm just going to wait to see if price can get there. I know I'm bullish. I'm now still expecting a swing back to the highs, but in order to trade it, I need price to be at a valuable area, and right now we're in the middle of things. So waiting for a push down. It may or may not happen. We'll have to wait and see, but that's still very much the plan for XAGUSD. And in terms of gold, yeah, looking bullish somewhat, but we are still trading in this upper end of the channel here. So it's an interesting price right now for gold. Do we break out? Do we respect it? That will make or break gold, because if we do struggle here, there could actually be a really nice short and a swing back down again. From a bullish standpoint, I wouldn't mind picking up some buys down at the lows here again. Did miss this swing, but if price was to return back to support, I think that's still a great place for a buy. Could be looking at a big double bottom for a possible reversal. So I still like the idea of longs down here. But at the same time, there might be some shorts up here first. If I could see more wicks, maybe a strong rejection, I wouldn't mind the short trying to capitalize on another lower high. We've got the first high there, second lower high. Perhaps we could see the third one. Of course, if gold just rallies through and breaks to the upside, well, gold is back bullish again. And at that point, I'll be expecting us just to drift back to the highs. So if we do break through that, gold's very bullish. There might be some break and retest on the lower time frame opportunities. So if price was to have a clean break, there might be a retest, something like that, on like an hourly or 30 or 15-minute chart to take advantage of. So watch out for the breakouts there if you're looking to follow that momentum. If you're looking to try and position yourself for a bigger swing trade, we need price to return to support anyway. So we need to wait for price to come back to lows. But at the same time, if we fail here, there could be some shorts to capitalize on that move as well. So a lot can happen here for gold, a lot of scenarios, but as price develops, we'll understand the more likely outcome for gold, whether it is the breakout or whether price does reject the highs there. We need a bit more information before I say which one I'm expecting, but we'll keep an eye on that. Silver, a little bit all over the place. It's had a massive wick to the downside last time I checked. Yeah, really big wick to the downside. Price was dancing around here yesterday afternoon. But yeah, it's interesting for silver. Again, I'm still pretty bullish with this one. Looking for us to return back to highs there at 34.55. It looks like we're trading outside of this kind of wedge pattern. So you got the trend line there giving you the lower highs. You got support here, which price is respecting, giving you the equal lows. Since we have broken to the upside, we have smacked our heads at resistance here. So looks like we're having some trouble there. We have come back down roughly to the trend line area. I've had a retest. Also just about wicked into this area here too. So I do fancy more upside there for silver. I'm not seeing a quality opportunity to take a trade though. Would I look to try and buy here? No. Reason being, this is more or less just a range. So I don't really want to be buying in the middle of a range anyway. So I don't really deem it as a high quality trade or something I will look to trade myself. I've spoken about silver I really wanted the price to push lower first so I could pick up some longs from some of these more significant areas in the market and at some more appropriate places as well for a buy. But right now we're coming from resistance, so personally I would stay away. Maybe if we double bottom here, that might increase the quality of the trade or the likelihood that we do push higher. But all in all, this is still what I would deem as a consolidation. So pretty much staying away from silver for now. I think gold is a lot better and a lot easier to read. So I'll just focus on gold's price action, whether it's the buys here or the buys in the breakout. I think there's a nice move to be had